Hi, I'm Spencer Hirsch. I'm a Senior Business Development Manager at Tin Man Systems, based here in Seattle, Washington. My job is to grow our mobile systems business, which are solutions for the industrial Internet of Things industry to keep moving systems moving. So that consists of three parts. One, primarily growing the existing book of accounts business, providing more in-depth solutions throughout their network and industry. And then two is prospecting and evaluating and committing new signs to the mobile systems business. And then third is identifying and executing indirect and direct partnerships with different companies throughout the industry. The Internet of Things consists of many different parts. I think the way most of us understand it is we think about smart things in the home. And these are just connected devices to the internet that allow them a more purposeful use, but they don't have to necessarily be in the home. They can be smart stoplights, it can be connected cars, it can be things that deliver packages to your door that operate through, connected internet spanned across different homes and different businesses. So the area I work in is in the industrial Internet of Things, and that's one kind of segment of where the industry is going. What that means is if you think about all of the companies in today's world, whether it's airports, e-commerce companies, manufacturing companies, distribution companies, they have invested and are still continuously investing billions of dollars in creating smart connected warehouses, conveyors and moving systems, automated storage and retrieval systems. And while they're investing all this money in those systems, they need to ensure they keep running, because downtime is a disease that none of these companies can avoid. So when they break down, it costs them hundreds of millions of dollars. And so where our company fits in providing these hardware and software solutions is whether it be one of our mobile systems traveling a conveyor route to identify pre-failure and failure events, or it's our smart multi-sensor sensors that are on premise behind companies' firewall, able to deploy real-time monitoring that is essential to the health of these moving systems. And so without that, you're essentially running into the dark. It's almost like not having a doctor. We deal in multi-sensor diagnostics. And so it's like you don't tell a doctor one symptom. You tell them many and they diagnose. So that's hopefully what our systems are doing. A lot of young professionals, they have this hunger to succeed and ultimately go into tech, and that was my path, but I didn't know necessarily how I was going to deploy my skills in the industry. And so going into the University of Oregon's Lundquist College of Business, I knew that was a path, but I didn't know which of the 5 concentrations would suit me best. And so I switched my concentration twice and ultimately landed on operations and business analytics. Ultimately, my dream job was to work for Amazon out of college. I think I applied to 50 to 60 different job applications, got one phone screen, and all the rest rejections. So ultimately, my dream job wasn't landed at that time, but I stuck with it. I joined a great company, and so it at least gave me a foundation where I could work for a tech company and see that fast-paced development of new products and solutions. Ultimately, went to go apply for Amazon jobs again about 2 years later. Joined Amazon, finally, and the path has then led me here to Tin Man Systems, where it's kind of the perfect marriage for my passion, which is the blend of technology, supply chain, and industrial IoT. No path that you ultimately want to get to your destination is straight and narrow. So with the direction of IoT at the intersection of AI and where it's all going, looking out into the future, is a lot of companies today, and this is kind of how we differentiate where the direction of this industry is going, is everyone seems to know how to deploy a single sensor to measure temperature or vibration or sound. But you ultimately have to deploy those at scale, which can be very costly for companies. And I think there's a leapfrog element to that, which is the ability to deploy not just single sensors that measure one input, like temperature, but the ability to deploy multi-sensors, measuring temperature, vibration, pitch and roll. And then where the AI comes in, it's like, okay, that's all great, right? We're receiving all this data many times a second, and engineers are looking at a screen and immediately overwhelmed by the information that's showing up to them. And then they're saying, great, we have the data that we wanted. Now, how do I tell Joe in the night shift how to look at this when he comes in? You know, I might take my own takeaways, but it might take me 4 hours. So that's where the AI comes in, is the ability to deploy, and what we already have deployed for customers today is smart multi-sensors. And so the ability for those sensors and systems to be at the edge, computing and processing the information being received, and then ultimately transmitting to what we call a base station, and where all that information has already been analyzed at the edge by what you could call our artificial intelligence model. I don't see IoT, industrial IoT, going anywhere without AI. And industrial IoT is one of the probably hundreds of different applications where AI plugs in. AI on itself is meaningless. It's where can AI plug itself in? And that's where we see the value. And the engineer's like, oh, okay, it's giving me my top 10 priorities by urgency level. I'm gonna go address those problems based on the multi-sensor diagnostics that it's providing, like a doctor would when you go in for your checkup. And so it's a very exciting space to be in, but it's important to communicate clearly, you know, not just what's available today, which is sensors, but where is it going? And that's where I think ultimately the artificial intelligence is gonna plug in and help keep things running smoothly. And will also hopefully convince leaders that the old way of doing things is no longer good enough. You can't support a 1 million square foot distribution facility with engineers manually inspecting. You know, it's like you need X-ray vision, a sound sensor, you need to ride your conveyors. They just need more help, you know? It's not to replace them, it's to equip them to be more efficient at their job, and also safer too. Well, if someone asked me, you know, how do I get into IoT and tech, I would say the one thing I wish I knew / invested my time in more was explore certification programs. I think that's a great way to complement the skills that you build in college, because then you have those credentials when you're applying for jobs. And then I guess the last piece of advice was just be relentless in your pursuit to learn more and your curiosity with other experts in the industry. I think the biggest problem I had is I was always intimidated to ask the questions that are always on my mind to leaders in the industry, whether it's on LinkedIn or in the classroom with professors. Really dig in. They're gonna be happy to share about their success and experience. Just learning that you can establish a connection, a potential reference down the road, and at the end of the day, you're walking away with more knowledge than you had before. Those would be my piece of advice along the way.